For 1,000 years, men here have jumped off 30-meter towers with vines tied to their ankles. No safety equipment, no second chances. This country invented bungee jumping. It also has a village that worshipped a British prince as a god, and blonde children with dark skin. And nobody has ever been able to fully explain why. These are the 10 things about Vanuatu that nobody tells you. Number 10. The island that invented bungee jumping, 500 years before New Zealand. On Pentecost Island, men have performed a ritual called Nag Haul for at least 500 years. They climb wooden towers up to 30 meters high, tie vines to their ankles, and jump head first. No safety equipment, no net. The closer the diver's head comes to the ground without touching it, the better the harvest for the year. In 1974, Queen Elizabeth II visited Pentecost Island to watch. A man died during her visit. The celebration continued. The British press was horrified. The islanders did not understand the reaction. To them, dying in the ritual was an honor, not a tragedy. When Westerners began filming the jumps decades later, a New Zealand businessman adapted the concept with elastic cord and safety harnesses and sold it globally as extreme sport. The result was bungee jumping, one of the most profitable adventure tourism industries on Earth. Vanuatu received no credit, no royalties, and no acknowledgement. The island that invented the jump was cut out of the story entirely. Number 9. 113 languages in a country smaller than Connecticut. Vanuatu has 350,000 people. It also has 113 distinct indigenous languages, making it the country with the highest linguistic density on Earth by a significant margin. On average, one unique language for every 3,000 people. These are not dialects. They are fully separate languages, as different from each other as English is from Arabic. The reason is geography. Each island, and sometimes each valley, developed in total isolation for thousands of years. The ocean between communities was too difficult to cross for language to spread, so each group built its own from nothing. To communicate across these barriers, Vanuatu developed Bislama, a Creole blending English, French, and local languages, stripped to its bare essentials. Migo Long House means I am going home. No verb tenses, no complexity, just enough to be understood. 113 languages on one island chain, the most linguistically diverse place on Earth per capita, and almost nobody has heard of it. If Vanuatu was completely unknown to you before today, comment 9 below. I want to know how many people this is genuinely new for. Number 8. The most seismically active country on Earth, Vanuatu sits directly on one of the most violent geological collision zones on the planet, where the Pacific tectonic plate grinds beneath the Australian plate. The result, 22 volcanoes, 9 of them currently active. Mount Yasur on Tanna Island has erupted continuously for over 250 years. Visitors can stand at the crater rim and watch lava explode into the air meters from their feet. The country also records over 200 earthquakes of magnitude 4 or higher every single year. When the serious ones hit, the damage is devastating. In December 2024, a magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck the capital Port Vila. 14 people died. 265 were injured. Total damage, $231 million, nearly 19% of Vanuatu's entire annual GDP. One earthquake destroyed a fifth of everything the country produces in a year. This is not a natural disaster risk. It is the permanent condition of daily life. Could you live on an island that erupts daily and records 200 earthquakes per year? Comment 8 yes if you think you could adapt, or 8 no if that is where you draw the line. Number 7. The U.S. military threw $50 million of equipment into the ocean. In August 1945, World War II ended. The U.S. military had accumulated enormous quantities of equipment on Espiritu Santo Island: trucks, bulldozers, cranes, aircraft engines, hundreds of jeeps. They offered to sell it to the British and French colonial administrators running Vanuatu. The offer was refused. Rather than ship it home at great cost or give it away for free, the military drove everything into the sea. Hundreds of vehicles were pushed off the dock in a single afternoon. Local inhabitants watched in complete bewilderment as machines they had never seen before disappeared under the water, one after another. The site is called Million Dollar Point. Today, the equipment lies in 15 meters of water, completely encrusted with coral, inhabited by tropical fish. You can snorkel above bulldozers stacked on top of each other. Truck tires are visible from the surface. The U.S. military's act of deliberate waste accidentally created one of the finest dive sites in the Pacific. Number 6. The village that worshipped Prince Philip as a god. On Tanna Island, in a village called Yaonanen, a small community held a belief that caused some confusion in Buckingham Palace. Prince Philip, husband of Queen Elizabeth II, was a divine being. The belief came from an ancient local legend about a pale-skinned son of a mountain spirit who would travel far, marry a powerful woman, and return bringing prosperity. When the islanders learned about the British royal family during the colonial era, they concluded Prince Philip matched the prophecy exactly. What makes this more than a curiosity is that Philip knew and engaged. He sent the village a signed official photograph. They sent him a traditional pig-killing club. He posed with it for a second photograph and returned it. Both are preserved in the village as sacred objects today. After Philip's death in 2021, the community split, some believing his spirit returned to the mountain, others that he will be reborn. The faith continues. A British prince became a god to a community he never visited, on an island most people cannot find on a map. If Vanuatu is already unlike anything you expected, the next 5 facts are where it gets genuinely strange. Hit subscribe, we cover a new country every week. Now back to Vanuatu. Number 5. The Last Cannibals and the Tribe That Walked the Oscar Red Carpet. 2 stories from the same island chain, both defying every expectation. On Malakula Island, the Big Nambas and Small Nambas tribes were among the last peoples on Earth to stop practicing cannibalism, not until 1960, when Christian missionaries finally succeeded. The tribes believed that consuming a defeated enemy transferred their strength and spirit directly into the victor's body. The tradition ended not from government enforcement, but from persuasion. On Tanna Island, the Yael tribe made a completely different kind of history. They reject all modernity, electricity, money, clothing beyond traditional grass skirts. They live by hunting and gathering. Then in 2017, a film made entirely with untrained Yael tribe members in the lead roles received an Oscar nomination for Best Foreign Language Film. The barefoot actors walked the Hollywood red carpet in grass skirts. When the ceremony ended, they removed the formal clothing they had been given and flew home. They have not changed their minds about modernity, not even for Hollywood. Number 4. The Women Who Own the Land. In Port Vila's markets, the most powerful economic figures are called market mamas. They are not casual vendors. They bring their entire families, sleep at the market for full weeks at a time, manage household savings, and sustain multiple generations from a single wooden stall. On islands like Pentecost and Ambrim, the land ownership system is matrilineal. Land passes from mother to daughter. Men, including husbands, must ask permission from the women of the clan before they can farm a field, build a house, or do anything on the land. Not as a formality, as a legal requirement. This system has survived German colonization, joint British-French administration, and 80 years of independence. In a country with no army and no oil, the women of Vanuatu have held the most valuable asset of all for centuries. The land belongs to them. It has always belonged to them. Number 3, though, the blonde Melanesians. The people of Vanuatu are Melanesian. Dark skin, broad features, and in many children, naturally blonde hair. Not light brown, genuinely blonde. For years, theories ranged from sun bleaching to colonial mixing. The actual answer came from genetic research. Melanesians in Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands carry a specific gene mutation called TYRP1, which affects melanin production, completely independently of any European influence. The blonde hair evolved here on its own in complete isolation over thousands of years. The trait is most visible in childhood. As children age, their hair shifts toward brown, but always lighter than typical Melanesian hair. It is one of only 2 known cases in human history of blonde hair evolving independently in an isolated population. The other is in Northern Europe. two separate peoples. No contact between them. Same result. Human genetics is stranger than any story anyone could invent. Knowing that blonde hair evolved completely independently twice, in Europe and in Vanuatu, with zero contact between them, does that change how you think about race and genetics? Comment 3, yes if it does, or 3 no if you already knew this. Number 2. The island where 50 people were buried alive. In the 13th century, a powerful chief named Roy Mata died. When archaeologists excavated his burial site on a small island called Aratoka in 1967, they found he had not been buried alone. Surrounding him were the remains of over 50 people, men, women, and children, arranged in precise positions around his body. Some were buried in pairs, clasped together. None showed signs of violent death. The most credible explanation: they were sedated and buried alive alongside their chief to accompany him into the afterlife. Whether voluntarily or not is the question that 600 years of silence cannot answer. After the burial, no one in Vanuatu would set foot on Aratoka for 6 centuries. The island was declared absolute taboo. Even today, communities approach it with extreme caution. The last elders who hold the full oral history of what happened that day are dying. Whatever really occurred in that grave may disappear with them. Number 1. The smallest country to take the world's most powerful nations to court. Vanuatu has no army, no navy, no air force, a GDP smaller than a mid-sized American shopping mall. And in 2023, it led the most significant legal action on climate change in the history of international law. The argument was simple and devastating. Vanuatu is among the most climate-vulnerable nations on Earth. Category 5, cyclones strike with increasing frequency. Cyclone Pam in 2015 destroyed 90% of food crops and damaged 90% of buildings in some areas. One of the most powerful storms ever recorded in the Southern Hemisphere. Sea levels rise toward coastlines that have no higher ground to retreat to. The volcanic islands that have survived geological forces for millions of years now face being permanently inundated within decades. Vanuatu produced essentially none of the carbon emissions causing this, so the government brought a resolution before the United Nations General Assembly requesting the International Court of Justice issue an advisory opinion on what legal obligations states have regarding climate change. The resolution passed, 132 nations in favor, 0 against. The ICJ agreed to hear it. The man who drove this initiative was not a head of state with military backing or economic leverage. It was Ralph Reagan-Vanu, Vanuatu's foreign minister, a former archaeologist who had spent years documenting the traditional knowledge and oral histories of the exact communities now facing extinction. He understood, more clearly than most politicians alive, precisely what would be lost. A nation of 350,000 people on 83 volcanic islands, with no army, no oil, and no veto at the UN Security Council, forced the world's highest court to address the question that the world's most powerful governments had spent decades avoiding. In 2024, the ICJ issued its advisory opinion, the first in the court's history to address climate obligations under international law, binding on no one but impossible to ignore. No weapons, no money, no leverage, just the right argument made by the right people at the right moment. That is Vanuatu. Do you think international law is a powerful enough tool for small nations to fight climate change? Or is it just paperwork that wealthy countries will ignore? Give me your honest answer below. Tell us what surprised you the most and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video.